Hi, welcome to Talking and Reading from Japan. I'm your host, Hidemi Woods. Here, I read part of the book I wrote and talk about it or anything I feel like talking to you. I hope you enjoy with me. Today, I read an episode from one of my books titled An Old Tree in Kyoto. Today's episode is called Ice Cream Man. This episode is about my uncle's encounter with one of my classmates. Ice Cream Man. When my uncle got married with my mother's cousin by an arranged marriage, my grandfather paid for his new house. He was proud of having his own dark room in the house. His hobby was photography, and he used to have the latest models of a camera. He planned to enrich his hobby by developing pictures by himself. After he quit a job at a gas station, he found a job supplying ice cream to small candy stores. He finished drifting jobs, had 2 daughters, and finally settled down. I visited his house with my parents one day and found that his darkroom had been converted into a family closet. He explained he no longer spent so much time taking pictures as before, with a weak smile. Several years passed and I had become a student at a private Catholic school. The school was a prestigious girls' school that included from the elementary school to the college. I had been there from the junior high and had acted as if I had been from a rich and noble family to fit in. By the time I advanced to the high school, I had been quite popular among the snobbish students. Most of their parents are rich, and they looked down some students whose parents weren't so rich. One of those girls we looked down came to me and said, "I saw your uncle yesterday." And she started talking about my uncle to my friends. "Do you know what her uncle is?" "He's an ice cream man," she giggled. Her parents ran a grocery store, and my uncle went there to refill their ice cream case. He noticed her school uniform and told her I was his niece. Her point was that I was a niece of a funny, loud, rude ice cream supplier in spite of my snobbish attitude. She went on spreading her encounter with my uncle to other students, and they all laughed at me. I was indignant rather than embarrassed. That was today's episode. As I have told here before, I lived with my uncle until I was 8 years old because my parents, my sister, my uncle, and me all lived with my grandparents under one roof. And so until my uncle got married, he lived with us. So he was like my older brother rather than an uncle. But it was his character that was annoying all of our family, because he was loud, noisy, rude, and he jested all the time, and was like, when I lived with him, I didn't like him at all. I couldn't figure out how an adult behaved such a foolish way. And so he was so friendly and nice, but just he was too annoying to me. He made jokes and made fun of me and stole my candies, and I just didn't want to be around him. So when he got married and left home, I was so relieved, because I no longer had to live and spend time with him. And he all his life he drifted jobs, and my grandfather was so worried about him and his future. And after he moved into the new house my grandfather bought for him, even after that, he changed his jobs from one to another. And but after a few years passed, he finally settled down as an ice cream supplier at that refilled local grocery stores. And by that time, he had 2 daughters. But to support his family, he gave up his hobby and converted his proud, precious darkroom into a closet at his house. So I felt a little bit sad for him, because I knew how much he loved photography, and to me, he didn't seem to be a family man at all. It was the farthest thing that he could be. But he did his best for his own family and settled down. Finally, he stopped drifting jobs. And then during those years, I became a student of a Catholic school that was quite rich prestige private school at the area where I grew up. And I had been struggling to fit in because my family was a farmer, and while other students' families are extremely rich, and some girls are from big hospitals. I mean, her family owned the big hospital in the area, or some girls are from the family who ran a very famous chain stores, restaurants, or famous companies. And so I couldn't catch up with them. No way. They were too far richer than my family, so I just couldn't fit in. But it was excruciating to be a student in that kind of school. So I needed to find a solution to go to school without agonizing, suffering some way. Because I went to school every day, so I couldn't repeat a day like black sheep of a school, and I couldn't continue to go to school like that. And I figured out some solution, and that solution was acting as if I was one of them. And I hid my family's business. I hid that I was from a farmer's family, and I changed my behavior, manners, way of my moving, everything to imitate other girls to fit in. And that scheme worked, and I was able to become popular, and I was able to belong to a cool group that consisted of very snobbish, cool girls. And I went to school as a different person from my true self every day. But I was young and stupid enough to believe that was the only way for me to make it through my school days. And it went well. My scheme went well, had been working until this girl, one of my classmates, coincidentally saw my uncle when he was working. He refilled ice cream to a grocery store that girl's family ran. And my uncle spotted her and recognized she was a student of the school I also went to because of the uniform. And the school uniform was quite unique, and he easily knew she was also a student of the school. And that Catholic school I went to was quite small, and the total number of the students were really small. And so he asked her what grade she was in, and found that she was in the same grade I was in. And so my uncle, told my name, and she knew me. And that encounter was not just a small talk or chattering to her. It was a big scoop for her, because with that encounter, she found what kind of family I was from, because she saw one of my relatives, and she thought she understood my true self. She she thought she knew who I really was. And at school, she was like a journalist or a reporter who got the biggest scoop of the century, and she circulated her encounter almost all the students around me, and she told them how uncivilized my uncle was, how funny he was, how rude he was, how noisy and foolish he was. And her point, the center of her point was that I was his relative. I was his niece. So what she really wanted to circulate to everyone was I was not one of these one of the girls here, but I was from the uncivilized family that was not so rich. And it was her big scoop, and she wanted to tell that everyone. And it was like she discovered what I really was, and she wanted to let everyone know about it. Of course, I was embarrassed, but it was my fury, my anger overrid my embarrassment, because I thought what she was saying was wrong. She apparently laughed about someone who worked as an ice cream supplier, and I thought what was wrong about being an ice cream supplier, and that feeling made me so angry. Because I knew how much effort my uncle made to work at that ice cream company by giving up his dark room and giving up his hobby, and he managed to focus on supporting his own family. And his way, the only way he eventually found to support his family was to work as an ice cream supplier. And he worked so hard as one. However, that my classmate laughed at him, which meant she laughed at what he did for his family. And I was indignant for that. And but everyone else who heard that who heard her scoop was similarly laughed at me, and my friends, classmates, other girls, everyone who happened to hear about that girl's encounter with my uncle laughed at me. And so they felt the same way as that girl felt. And I thought I found what kind of school I went to. I had tried to fit in, but the place where I worked so hard to fit in was that kind of atrocious, stupid, foolish people went to. So the girls around me were all that similar girl who left my uncle, and I felt like I found the school's true color with that incident. And my uncle wasn't a smart guy. He had never taught me anything. He had never say anything. He had never said anything illuminative or educational or anything. He was just laughing and being funny. So I didn't hear him saying something something good or something so illuminative. He was kind, so he was kind enough to get me many toys when I was small, but he didn't teach me anything. But I think with this incident, he told me the true color of my school and true color of my friends. What kind of place I was trying to fit in, how wrong it had been. I think that was my uncle finally taught me. Well, that's all for today. Thanks for listening. I hope you come back soon here and join me again. I'm Hidemi Woods. Until next time, take care and be well.